So we'll start here in about 1 minute if everybody wants to turn their video on if you're on the board. I hear Jerry's clock going off. Must be 5 o'clock.
No, it wasn't mine.
Oh, no?
No, it's mine, Jeannie.
Oh, that's your clock, Randy. I've always wondered. Oh, now we know.
It sounds just like mine, though.
All right, Peggy, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So, so Jerry, just to let you know, we can't see your video. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but FYI. So it is 5 o'clock.
Is that better?
Today is Monday, October 5th, 2020. This is the Village of Oregon Village Board meeting. So I would request a roll call, please.
Glish,
Here.
Bollig,
Bollig is here.
Horton,
Here.
Stitch.
He's here.
Okay. Thank you. Jacobson. I don't hear
I don't see her yet.
Okay. Peterson.
I'm here.
Thank you. And Carpenter.
Here. Thank you,
Thank
Peggy. All right, so this is the point in the meeting where we have community input. This part of the agenda allows members of the public to provide information to the village board on items that aren't on our agenda. Is there anyone on the Zoom meeting call that would like to address the board at this time on an item that's not on the agenda? I'll just wait a minute if you're trying to unmute yourself. All right, I'm not hearing anybody. If someone would like to speak up as we go on, just let me know. All right, item 4, public appearance. Item A is a discussion with Molly Vidal and the Oregon Allies Group. And I see Molly on here. So am I pronouncing your last name correct, Molly?
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I will let you take it from here, Molly. Welcome.
Thanks. And thanks for being flexible as a board. There were some youth that wanted to participate from the high school, but between schedules and then just general anxiety, they were unable to make it today. So thank you for being flexible. I appreciate that. Who I do have with me today is co-founder and president Dana Coburnes, and she's available for questions as we go through. We have the vice president, Andrea Bilo. She is here. And then somebody who's going to be presenting with me is someone from our leadership team. Her name is Coral Goplin, who you're familiar with from the library board. So we've had the chance to work with a number of you throughout the years on projects. So we're excited that we're finally having a more formal opportunity to present to you all. So thank you for making time. Before we get started, I thought it would be important for us to just talk a little bit about the organization of Allies as a whole and how Allies started and what our mission is. So Oregon Allies started in 2018 after a number of parents, myself being one of them, kind of stumbled into each other within the district because our children were children of color or LGBTQ youth, and the youth were experiencing, of all different ages, my son was in 4K, had a number of racist and xenophobic incidences happen to them in the community. And so we kind of stumbled upon each other by accident, and we're happy to have discovered each other and realized that there was, at that time, a couple of years ago, a void and sort of support for individuals who are underrepresented, but also sort of educational opportunities for a primarily white community. So that's how Allies started. We have 3 primary missions for Allies. The first is community education and engagement. We want the community to really understand the importance of intersectional allyship And I am completely cognizant of the fact that intersectional can sound like a buzzword for some folks. So just to be clear, intersectional means that we try to include as many different citizen groups as possible within the work that we do. So for instance, you might hear sometimes that feminism doesn't always represent women of color, or doesn't include LGBTQ plus individuals or issues within feminist circles. So we try really hard to be intersectional. The second piece is, and this is one that we really do in a more quiet way, and Coral will go into this, is supporting and amplifying the voices of underrepresented groups in Oregon. Again, underrepresented sounds, again, like a buzzword, and can sound a little patronizing. So to define it a little better, underrepresented means, if you look at the totality of Oregon, from business leaders to the school board to the village board to the police department, it's primarily white, straight representation. And so helping to make sure that when decisions are made, we're also thinking about the ways that those decisions can affect different kinds of groups and individual experiences within Oregon. And then the third one is really reviewing and looking at local policies just of their, so that there can be as inclusive as possible to support the community, especially in the long run. And so it doesn't come naturally for a lot of government groups, and I'm completely guilty of this, working in government, of not always being cognizant of being thinking through the lens of equity, diversity, and inclusion when reviewing a policy that looks standard, or a process, or making a decision. And so we really work hard on looking at policies within the community in which there could be a benefit from an equity lens. So for instance, sort of an unexpected one that people might not think about is just looking at your agenda that you're reviewing tonight. There's a number of contracts that you're talking about, or projects that you're going to be bidding out for. And so where there's an equity and inclusion lens, it would be looking at, does Oregon have an, I honestly don't know this, so I hope maybe this already is in place, but does Oregon have a policy or prioritization for minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned companies that they can like be successful in the bidding process for village contracts? So that's the sort of thing that when you're looking through an equity lens that we as allies try to help bring attention to and advocate for. It's also important, I really want to highlight what Oregon Allies is not. So we are not a political organization. Yes, there are politics involved with whether or not policies and procedures throughout the nation and in the state and locally are equitable and diverse and inclusive. And there are some that would say that those topics can be politically divisive. But honestly, I just want to live in a community in which my son and the other children in Oregon can thrive. And so if that means that you're conservative, liberal, you vote for people with purple hair, it doesn't matter to me. So we work really hard on not being a political organization, and we are not the voice of underrepresented groups. We can support them. We can point out where there are policies in which we as white ladies can say, have you thought about this sort of thing? But I am by no means, and the leadership team by no means are the voice of underrepresented individuals, because just like many of you, we are mostly straight white presenting. So I want to make that clear too. The last thing before I hand it over to Coral is that just for an organizational overview standpoint, so we started in 2018, and then towards the early part of 2020, because we had so many sort of growing needs, I would say, from a public standpoint, but also from a more individual advocacy request standpoint that folks were coming to us on, we scaled up our leadership. So Oregon Allies has now 15 individuals that represent the leadership team, and they all have extremely diverse backgrounds, but many of which represent, have children in the area in Oregon that have, those are the children as we speak, that have different needs and definitely are underrepresented in the general sort of community in Oregon. So we're glad to have those folks on, and so we're scaling up that leadership as we speak. So now it's the perfect segue. I'm going to hand it over to Coral, who joined our leadership team, and she's going to talk a little bit more about what we do and our goals moving forward.
Hi. So I'm Coral, and as Molly mentioned, I'm familiar with you all. You have seen me here before for the library board. I am really appreciative of the chance for us all to have a chance to sit down and maybe talk through some of these things. So I'm going to start with some of the efforts that you may already be familiar with from the Oregon Allies. So at this point, we have nearly 600 individuals in our Oregon Allies Facebook group. That effort focuses primarily on sharing equity, diversity, and inclusion resources and data within interested parties within our community. We also do community engagement activities, including book clubs or the more recent June 2020 Stand Up Lean In event. We also do some limited organized advocacy efforts. For example, our recent email effort asking for a holistic equity and inclusion plan within our community as well. But in addition to kind of those maybe more on the forefront efforts that we do, there is a lot of work going on in the background as well. One of the most meaningful pieces of the work that I believe the Allies do is individual advocacy in situations where someone in our community may have experienced xenophobia or some other form of discrimination. Our relationships within the community have allowed folks within our Allies group to sit down easily and quickly with the school board or other people within our government and like have conversations that can help move things along quickly. We also connect experts and resources in several other ways. There are folks within our leadership group who sit on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And we connect our own education and our experiences to support our wider community with local policy review, or as I serve, on the library board. And I mean, who would not want to get Molly's Saturday morning thoughts on the use of force policy? I'm sure I would. So as we kind of head into like the next phase, I guess, of what we're working on, what are we actually as an Allies group pushing for? So with this kind of current political climate, there are inequities bubbling to the surface kind of everywhere. And I think it can be easy to feel overwhelmed by the huge amount of work that there is ahead of us. And we in the Allies leadership group feel that now is the perfect time to step forward, not in reaction to like the overall cultural movement, but in reaction to the very real inequities within our own community, in our own schools, in our own government and policing systems. So while we each can, continue to push within our own spheres, I mean, for example, right, Jeannie cannot change the minimum wage across our entire nation, but she can, in fact, offer and implement fair livable wages for the people who she directly employs. We also, as a community, then need to step forward and push for a full blueprint for equity within Oregon. So with our changing economy and the tax bases and the shifts in our demographics, we need a long-term plan, we believe, that will continue to kind of push for our village's economic growth as well. As we've been discussing this as an Allies group, we've been thinking of it as kind of the blueprints for our equity house, right? We need a full blueprint for equity within the village of Oregon. And I want to make sure we take a step back and talk about why, right? Without making sure that we are getting diverse perspectives and considering the needs of people who might not look the same as us or experience our community in the same way as us, we're in danger, I think, of making a community that's not inhabitable to people who don't look like us or who are different from us in any way. And that limits who will invest in living and doing business within our community. And so for that reason, we in the Allies group are calling for a holistic, measurable, and action-oriented equity and inclusion plan. So this plan, or a blueprint, would allow people and businesses considering moving into our community a clear understanding of our community's priorities and values, And this is integral, obviously, to our ongoing economic growth. But in addition to that, and as kind of a core tenet of our Allies mission, this plan would allow people who are experiencing discrimination or xenophobia within our community transparency and accountability from those who serve them. And then for those of us who wish to help, we want to make change, it allows increased efficiency, and it gives us like a really clear place to put our efforts, like a framework in which to put our efforts. And this way we're not in a situation where we have, you know, a whole room full of plumbers attempting to build a house. We have so many wide and varied like experiences around our community, and this allows us to like make sure we're putting the right people in the right spots. And this is where we really also need our diverse voices, not just at the table, but in positions where their voices are valued and safe. So to sum it up, a holistic, measurable, and action-oriented equity and inclusion plan for Oregon makes financial sense. And more than that, it is simply the right thing to do. And so from there, I think I will open it up. And if you have questions for me, for Molly, for Dana, for Andrea, we are all here.
Sure. Thank you so much, Coral and Molly. Peggy, do you want their addresses for the minutes, or are they just identified as leaders of Oregon Allies?
I would take their addresses.
Okay, that's a bureaucratic thing. If Coral, you could just the street and where you live, and Molly the same, please. Thank you.
Yeah, my address is 789 Janesville Street, apartment 1.
Mine is 220 Bethel Court.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. All right, I will open it up to the board. Any initial thoughts or questions for the leaders of the Allies here tonight?
Jeannie, can I just?
Yes, go ahead, Randy.
So to both of you, just thank you for the great overview and the education that you provided that helps me understand your organization better. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
You bet.
Well, other folks think, or Amanda, did you have a question or a thought? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just, a full disclosure here, I am part of the Allies Leadership Board. So I'm, you know, part of the discussions there, and I think it's a great group, and I would like to see the Village Board and the Allies and Diversity Inclusion Committee and everybody that, you know, all the groups that are to have a stake in this to, in some way, and I don't know exactly what it would look like, but collaborate when we come up with village policies, whether it's new ordinances or, you know, reviewing, you know, police procedures or whatever it is, but to have the right people in the room as we're going over that stuff, because a lot of times I think policy gets written and then we have groups come and comment on it, and we can tweak it, but a lot of it's kind of set already, and it would be really nice if maybe we could use our committee system a little more, like our personnel committee, and have the Allies and diversity inclusion people at the table as the policy is being formed, so that by the time it gets to the village board, everybody's going, this is a great policy, let's pass it. I guess that's what I'm hoping for. Is that kind of what you guys are saying, Molly and Coral?
I would say yes, and I would say two things. One, it piggybacks on what Coral said, which is part of a holistic sort of collaborative approach, would let a lot of people know where to insert their expertise and their voices.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is then some of you then will no longer have to deal with my, like, as Coral said, Molly's quirky, like drinking coffee and doing random policy reviews on a Saturday morning, because she has no life. So if there was a way that we could be included on the front end, then there's a way, to Coral's point, we can put all of our collective activities together to row the ship in one direction, which I think would benefits everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Amanda, for participating in the leadership group, and it's a nice liaison between the village board and this group. So thanks for your service on that.
Well,
Other board thoughts or questions at this time? Yes, go ahead, Corey.
I would just like to thank the allies for the work that they're doing, and I really appreciate you coming and talking with us. And I think you have a very willing board here that wants to, hear what everyone has to say and have input on the process. So as much as I am a white male and kind of don't personally experience that, my family is multicultural, and I've dealt with things as well. So I think all of us get touched by it sooner or later, and we each have different perspectives. So I think it's important to get everyone together talking about things, and I think Amanda's idea about kind of putting this at the front end is a very good idea. That as village board members, as we move forward, we'll have to kind of put that into our process, so we think about it, I guess, more consciously rather than realizing that we missed a piece after the fact.
Well said, Corey. Thank you. Other board members? Jenna. And yep, there you go. You're muted. There you go.
I just wanted to say I really like the idea of having a blueprint for equity. No idea what that should look like at this point, but I think that like you all said, having a more holistic, measurable view of what our goals are kind of steers not only the village board, but everybody who's coming before us to kind of see how we're viewing equity for the community. And so that idea really is sticking out to me a lot, and I'd like to see us work on something moving forward. So thank you for bringing that.
Thank you. Molly, Coral, Amanda, maybe Jenna, is this something that you think that we can ask the diversity and inclusion group to take a look at and work on? Or I'm a doer. I'm not a huge fan of we should form a committee and do a task force thing. I'm more of let's utilize something that we already have in place. And I'm thinking maybe the D&I committee might be a place to start, but that's just an idea. What is your reaction to that, ladies?
This is Coral. I would say I think that sounds amazing. I think the piece that I want to make sure we don't lose in any of this is what kind of responsibility does that committee have to the village board, and what kind of responsibility does the village board have to that committee? Because I think if we get into a position where we are making some strong recommendations, what is our agreement about how that we would move forward with those recommendations, I guess, would be the piece that I would want potentially formalized.
I see. Okay.
A little bit. How's that?
I understand.
And to piggyback on that, if we're willing, it would be wonderful then to have representation from the school board maybe, and then also the police department. Then that makes it truly a holistic plan that we can all work together on. That is just a suggestion, but I think that that's a great idea to use the existing processes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it sounds like we have some places at least start thinking about. Amanda, since you're on the Allies leadership team, and Jenna, you've been going to the D&I meetings, I might look to you two ladies to just put our heads together and think of next steps along with Molly and Coral, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know when Mike, maybe start thinking about the next committee meeting that this would fall under. Would it be what would it be under?
Village board.
Oh, okay.
I think the board has to talk about this.
Okay.
This is a great idea, but it's also going to get complicated about.
Sure.
There has to be some understanding so people don't get offended going ahead that where the board may go ahead with a policy and the allies group or somebody else thought, well, why didn't they go through us? So this will take some work to identify this.
Okay.
I mean, the board could, I know you don't like this, Jeannie, but the board could form another committee. But I think initially the board should just deal with it.
Okay. Yeah.
My opinion. Yeah.
Any final thoughts from board members? Any questions? All right, well, thank you to Molly and Coral and Dana and Andrea. We didn't hear from you, but we can see you. So thank you for being here. I think this is a really good conversation to have with the board and a good first step. And communication is good as a group, I think. So I'm sorry that it was sort of weird over Zoom, but this is what we got right now. So
We're good. Thank you so
and
much.
yes,
Thank
and
you.
obviously you're welcome to stay for more of the meeting, but we are never offended when people leave after their agenda item is over.
You don't want to hear my children screaming in the background of the rest of your agenda. So have a good night.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we will move on to approval of minutes. We don't have any for tonight's agenda. Item 6 is approval of vouchers. Tonight we have vouchers for a total of $574,512.24. If I could have a motion to get this on the table for discussion, that would be awesome.
Jeannie, I'll move. Randy?
Thank you. So we have a motion by Glick. Is there a second?
I'll go second.
All right, second by Bollig. All right, what questions do we have for staff on vouchers?
I'll ask you a question.
Okay,
Is my camera not working?
So it's, Jerry, it's like there's almost like something in front of it. Like, do you have like a Post-it note in front of your camera? Or
No, I do not. I've been trying to get your attention throughout that whole last item.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you
we
like,
can't see you, Jerry.
Okay.
You can see it is actually working a little bit, Jerry. You can see some light going by it when you move your finger around on it.
Is that helping?
Oh,
There we
yeah,
go.
we can see you. Yep, now we can see you.
Okay. So my question is on vendor 8110 Stair Automotive. We had some squad that the explanation lists repair, and it was $1,300 worth. Is any of that covered by insurance?
I think Jenny's on the call, isn't she?
I don't know if maybe Lisa, you can help me out. I'm wondering if this is the one that had the transmission issue.
Was it fixed at Stair Automotive?
I don't think so. That one was.
No, that was fixed at the other place. I'm trying to find the voucher, just a second here.
Well, I mean, if you can remember what it is, it's squad lists 119, 121, and 118. And it lists repairs, and they're all about the same cost.
Or it could be tires.
Mhm.
This is about the time we put those new tires on for the winter.
Yep.
That could be why it's all about the same cost. Yeah. Well, if it's not tires, just let the board know, please.
Sure.
Okay. Vendor number 10019, Town and Country Engineering. Engineering for Park Street and Janesville intersection. Is that the final payment for that, or is there more coming?
Oh, no, we've got, well, no, not for the end. That's just the engineering. And they're still working on that.
Okay, so that's more to come.
Yep.
That's all I have.
That was nice
Right.
and easy.
Thank you, Jerry. Other questions on vouchers? All right, then Peggy, do you want to do a roll call vote?
Jacobson,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Stitch,
Yes.
Glish,
Yes.
Bollig,
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peggy. All right. So moving on to 7 proclamations and announcements. Board comments. What board comments do we have? Don't look like any right now. Staff comments. We have a list of upcoming virtual meetings. I would draw your attention to that that Wednesday, October 21st meeting, because it's on a Wednesday. So make sure that one's on your calendar. Is this possible third budget meeting? but let's face it, we'll probably have it.
We'll
Right,
see how
Ryan?
efficient, we'll see how efficient we are next 2 Monday nights, Jeannie.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Zoom will make it all go real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other staff comments? I had maybe this is for Jeff. I had a question. Jeff, is this the week that the new Pelletary garbage pickup schedule starts?
Yes.
Yes.
It does.
Yes, yeah, it's
Yes.
October 5th, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
So, yeah, I guess maybe just everybody be prepared for calls about my garbage didn't get picked up.
Good
I'm sure
point.
it's on our website. I know that we've done a lot of publicity, but just for board members know that if your neighbors are complaining their garbage hasn't been picked up, it's a day later. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Jeff?
It was an added day and it's almost all on the west side.
Okay.
So it would be Oregon Parks, Alpine Meadows, and Bergamot.
Okay.
Bergamot.
And then now also recycling is getting picked up every week, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
That contract is something we'll be bringing back in October,
All right, fine.
late October, probably right after the budget.
Yep.
Okay.
21st,
Pushing my cardboard into my cart then.
exactly.
Any other staff comments? All right. Going on to item 8. So we have communication and miscellaneous business. First is 8A, update regarding the 2021 annual budget and state mandated property tax cap.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we're working, Lisa and I are working on the budget with the department heads. And I think actually we may have the budget ready to be distributed on Thursday versus Friday this week. And the budgets will be in 3-ring binders on the white tables in the lobby. We'll send out an email when they're ready, but we're trying to get them out this Thursday. And the reason why I had the property tax cap on there, I just wanted to tell the board, just to give you a heads up, that we'll be talking about that. We had to do some maneuvering we're trying to get the budget under the cap, and it's been challenging. We'll talk about that beginning next week, Monday. So.
Okay. So we have to look forward to picking up our giant binders.
Yep.
For the coming week. Jerry, do you need help carrying your
Yes,
binder?
yes, I'm looking for my binder, Mike.
Pardon?
Well, are there any big changes planned for the way we're going to present budget this year for those meetings?
No, everyone will have a hard copy in front of you.
Okay.
And actually, I was just talking to Candy about it this afternoon. Since we're all going to have a hard copy, and we'll also have the budget online, but I would highly recommend that the board members pick up their hard copies to have in front of them as we go through it next week. The next 2 weeks, I should say.
Okay. So you're going to send lunch? You're going to send our lunch over?
Yeah, sure. I was going to say, in the past, we'd have different inserts in the budget book. This year, it'll just be the initial budget on the 12th. And then, there's always additional information that will come for the 19th. And that will just have probably online, because that'll be pretty limited. So again, I would recommend having the budget binder in front of you both Monday night. You can follow along.
Sounds fun.
Yep.
All right. So item item B.
Yep.
Discussion and possible action regarding paving of bike path in Highlands of Netherwood Park. We have a recommended motion to pay $10,870.08 to Forward Development Group for paving part of bike path in Highlands of Netherwood Park. Someone want to make that motion to get it on the table, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it, Jeannie.
Perfect. All right. So we have a motion by Peterson and a second by Horton. And
Okay.
we have a memo or something.
We have an email from me to Forward Development Group. Elise, if you could go to that map that's going right there. Okay, perfect. Okay, down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so everyone's familiar. Elise will show you where Netherwood Road is, running north and south there along the screen. And then Peterson Trail is the new road that comes off of that. And then this is all Highlands and Netherwood subdivision. As you know, we've been constructing with village funds the Highlands of Netherwood Park. And that's coming along really, really well. We'll probably hopefully have something coming up here in the next couple weeks, maybe some sort of early groundbreakings or early ribbon cutting, so we can at least get people out there on the paths and parking lot and everything. But what we found when we were going through this is there was a section of trail that Forward Development had not committed to install, and that was the trail along Netherwood. As part of our park project, we had planned all the area in pink, which is the kind of the circle all the way around there. And then we determined that Forward Development had not planned to do the entire circle above in, what is it, kind of goldenrod, whatever color. It's orange is kind of coming out there, but and mainly the part along Netherwood was not going to be completed by them, and it was not shown on their original drawings and everything. However, there were also paths shown within the park area that Forward Development was planning on doing. So what we did was we asked Forward Development and their engineers to prepare an estimate of what the what the difference would be if they were to install that extra section along Netherwood Road to kind of creates like a figure 8 walking path area around the detention ponds and around the park. And then also giving us credit for the asphalt that would have been put down in below where you see phase 1A there. You see kind of a hatched area, that hatched line, the right, there's like a, yeah, that one right there. So that Forward Development was not responsible to put in. So we had them work up the difference, and the cost difference really comes down to the grading and the base material. The asphalt is kind of a wash, and it came up to a difference of about $10,000. And so we're proposing, I mean, and I think it's a fair cost to do that. We've reviewed it. And so that's kind of where it is. The money for this, Jerry, would come out of the contingency fund that we have for the park construction project, which has been going along really well.
All right, yes, Jerry.
Yes, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for calling my attention to the financial part of it.
Well, I
But I do have a question. I knew
that was coming.
You're very good, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
So as I understand it, for $10,000, we get, the village residents get the yellow line included with the pink line.
Yes, all of the yellow line. Yeah, it was already going to be going up there, Elise, it's already going to be, not that one, the other one. That one and that one going down were the ones that were already going to be part of that, but it wasn't going to close. And so the $10,000 means that now it'll close and there'll be a path all the way along Netherwood along that stretch. And it makes for a really nice, kind of like we have out in Keller Alpine Park, a nice kind of loop and outside loop and an inside loop.
Is that asphalt, Jeff?
It's asphalt. Yep.
Okay. And about how big is it? What's the length of that then? Approximately.
You know, I haven't done the measurement on it yet, but
all right.
Basically around, I mean, you know, it's around a football, or basically around a big old soccer, you know, / rugby pitch, and then around that big pond. So it's probably at least a quarter mile or more around each.
Very good. What is the blue line off to the left?
The blue lines.
That comes in and goes through the two.
Yeah, so those were just, we were making sure that Forward Development understood that, you know, those are paths that Forward Development is obligated to install in future phases. And so that blue line that goes up to the left, that's going to be a future access to Hermston Park.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on this item? That park is coming along nicely. I want to thank staff for all your work on that. And I think that loop of walking paths is just another added bonus of that area. It's going to be, I think that's going to be really highly used.
It already kind of is actually.
Yeah,
so
I was
yeah.
telling Jeff yesterday, it was pretty busy already.
Be patient, people. It's almost there.
All right, so we have a motion and a second then to make the payment to Forward Development Group for paving that part of the bike path. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item C is discussion and possible action regarding closing Village Hall on Wednesday, November 25th, 2020. This is the day before Thanksgiving. We would recommend motion to approve closing the Village Hall on that day with Village Hall staff using their own available time off. Mike, anything to add to this? Or have we done this before?
No, we haven't, and we're suggesting this for a couple of reasons. It's been challenging for everyone to be using vacation this year because of the election and just with COVID. And we just thought this is a nice gesture for the front office staff. They'll be still recovering from the election and just giving them an extra day off over the Thanksgiving weekend. But they'll be using their own time off, either a floating holiday or vacation time or comp time to take the day off.
Okay. Any questions on this, or does anyone feel comfortable making the motion? Jenna, either one?
I have a question first. Is there anybody who doesn't have the vacation time or a floating holiday that this would negatively impact them? Do we know?
Lisa and Peggy talked to the staff, and everybody has available time, and they're very excited about doing this if they can.
Okay. All right.
Am I correct, Lisa? Lisa and Peggy, am I correct about that?
You are
Go ahead.
correct, Mike.
All right. Wow. You never say that very often. Thank you.
Record that for future use.
I know. Wow.
I've said that a number of times in the past couple weeks.
You have.
Then I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve taking November 25th off, or closing the Village Hall for November 25th.
All right. Is there a
Bollig will
second?
second.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion by Jacobson, second by Bollig. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. All right, item 8D, discussion and possible action regarding agreement for land division improvements, Bergamot Development Phase 5C. So we have a recommended motion to rescind approval of Phase 5C agreement because fiduciary will not be constructing Phase 5C in 2020. Anything to add to this, or someone would like to make a motion?
I can just say that.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry. I was just going to say that the reason why we're doing this is that, as I mentioned on the agenda, they're not proceeding with it. And because per the 2007 master agreement we have with them, whenever they do a phase, they pay us for improvements to Lincoln and Jefferson Street. And so we have billed them for that because typically that's what we've done with these other phases. And we have a $77,000 outstanding balance with them in our AR that Lisa and I feel we need to remove. And the way to remove it is to rescind the agreement. Fiduciary is in agreement with this to have us do this. Hopefully they're going to come back next year and do the phase.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
Any questions? If someone would like to make a motion, go ahead. Yes, Amanda.
I was just going to say, so this is kind of a housekeeping thing, like they can come back and we can rebill them. It's just for right now, we want it off.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I'll
Mike.
make the motion then. If
Bollig will second for this further discussion.
Okay, so a motion by Peterson and a second by Bog. Go ahead, Jerry.
Thank you. So what does the $77,000 represent? Is that like a deposit, or is that
each phase, Jerry, they pay that phase's share of the improvements to Lincoln Road and Jefferson Street. And this was decided back in 2007 when fiduciary took over the project, that they did not have to pay all those fees at that point up front. They get billed over the I guess the length of the entire project by phase.
So that it goes into the road maintenance fund when we receive it then?
It helped pay for Lincoln Road, for example.
Very good. Okay.
That's paying 100% of our work on the road improvements on Lincoln Road.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I'm all in favor of that. Yeah, okay, I get that. Very good. Doesn't affect anything really. until we get started.
It's more of like Amanda said, it's more of a housekeeping thing.
Mhm.
Lisa and I knew the auditors, or know the auditors would ask us what that was for. And it's not good, as you know, Jerry, it's not good ending the year with that kind of balance in your AR.
No,
Yeah.
no. And I'm sure fiduciary really appreciates it too.
Yeah, get it off their books too. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, any further questions on that item? So we have a motion and a second then to recommend, or I mean, to approve rescinding that phase 5C agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item E for COVID-19 information. First item is Village Hall is still closed to the public traffic throughout the building. However, village staff is available by appointment from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Visitors should call 608-835-3118 for an appointment. The drop box, which is in the sort of the middle of that triangle parking lot, can be used for all village documents, including water payments, building payments, and absentee ballots. And thank you to staff for putting up that yellow brick road to the where to put your ballot. Giant I voted sign. That's awesome. I like it. And then continuing under COVID updates, item 2 is discussion of possible action regarding 2020 trick-or-treating. So we have some background information. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has identified many traditional Halloween activities are high risk for spreading viruses. So the village administrator has some recommended motions, or if we could put it all in one, that the village should not encourage traditional trick-or-treating or establish hours, and then should encourage residents to follow the CDC guidelines included in tonight's meeting packet. And then Judy from the Chamber of Commerce was kind enough to email me a list of things that the chamber, that different organizations and groups in Oregon are already planning for safe Halloween events. And so I'll just read this. So PIH REMAX is hosting a community outdoor scavenger event on October 17th. The Oregon Fire Department is doing a safe trick-or-treating on Saturday, October 24th from 3 to 5 p.m. They have this fun flyer that I just printed out that I'll put at the Firefly. They're going to be on bike paths near Alpine Meadows and in JC Park, and then be passing out safely candy and other goodies. Hillcrest Bible Church is hosting a community outdoor scavenger hunt on October 25th. And then I know Chief Jenny, our police chief, has been working with the youth center on an event or events. So I think it's amazing that our community, it's October 5th and all of these things are already organized. So I think our community is already recognizing that traditional trick-or-treating may not be robust or the wisest thing to do. So folks are already stepping up. But who doesn't love trick-or-treating? So if folks have other thoughts on this, now would be the time to discuss or make any motions. I guess personally, I'm in favor of the village administrator's recommended motion. We're not saying that trick-or-treating is going to be illegal. We are just encouraging it, not setting specific hours, and encouraging folks to stay safe. I think we'll still see people out and about trick-or-treating, but I think this is the situation where we're at. Do other people have different thoughts, or are we out of the ballpark here? Oh, yeah.
Hey,
So,
it's Luke.
Jenna?
Oh, you can let Luke go first.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. You didn't have to do that. Yeah, as a father of 2 small kids, it breaks my heart. But at the same time, knowing that Wisconsin is one of the highest ranking states with infections, and it doesn't seem to be going down anywhere. In Dane County, we're doing okay. I just have to publicly say that I strongly want to thank all of the organizations in the community that are setting up alternatives to trick-or-treating, because as hard as it is to say as a parent that I can't let my kids go trick-or-treating, I think that's the right thing to do. No reason to increase risk for families in, with all of this. So just thanks to these organizations who have set up these alternatives that can be just as fun for kids to participate in.
Did Luke steal your thoughts? Jenna, go ahead.
No, yeah, for the most part, I think I was just echoing what Luke said. As a parent of 3 kiddos, this has been a conversation that my husband and I have had frequently, because we don't want to be the bad guys to say no trick-or-treating, but yet I feel that that's the wise choice at this time for our family. And so I again really appreciate all these organizations coming up with alternatives so that there are alternatives to choose from. And so I agree with staff's recommendation, and I'm willing to make a motion to do that if we need one.
Yeah, maybe make the motion as outlined in the packet.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. To not encourage it, to not establish official hours, and to encourage residents to follow the CDC guidelines.
Yes.
All right. So we have a motion. Does that have a second?
Stitch will second.
All right. Second by Stitch. Thank you. Further discussion. Yes, Corey.
I just anticipate that village staff are going to get slammed with a ton of calls regarding this. I wonder if not only should we not encourage this, I guess should we put something, on the website that, regarding this, just so we don't get quite as many calls?
Yeah, we will, Corey. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We can perhaps also ask Judy at the chamber, work with her to see if she wants to maybe on the chamber website kind of put a listing of all of the different things going on in the community. I mean, she already does that. So that might be a nice link on our website to say, wondering what to do for instead of trick-or-treating, and then we can have a link to maybe to the chamber website.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, I can check in with Judy to see if she's willing to do that, but I'm sure she would be.
Yep, thank you.
We'll still get calls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I've already had people asking me about it. So,
yep.
I mean, who doesn't want to go trick-or-treating? For the parents too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have a motion and a second then to basically cancel trick-or-treating this year. Wow, that's a really distressing sentence to say. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, everyone. It's our job to keep the community safe, so I think that we're doing our best on that one. All right, item F is discussion and possible action regarding Janesville Street and South Perry Parkway intersection with geotechnical services. We have a recommended motion to approve the geotechnical services contract with CGC Inc. for the Janesville South Perry Parkway intersection in the amount of $2,670. Would someone like to make that motion, please?
I'll make that motion, Gina.
Thank you. We have a motion by Horton, and who would like to second?
I'll go second.
Thank you, Jerry. Any questions on this for Jeff?
Jeff, Bollig has a question. Would you explain for the public what geotechnical services are?
Sorry, I was muted. It is subsurface sampling of the soils below the pavement down to a depth of about 15 feet. So we can understand the foundation, requirements for the pavement design for the new intersection.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dirt samples.
That's an appurtenance, right?
No, there are no appurtenances on a report like that. Mostly with equipment.
Good one.
So it should note that, we did receive 3 quotes from this and they were all really close. Although one of the things I like about CGC and it's no guarantee, but it is a not to exceed. They have a lump sum cost of $1,450, and then it could be not to exceed there. It could go up as high to $2,670, but in the past they've been able to come in between those 2 numbers pretty well.
That sounds good. All right. Then we have a motion and we have a second to then approve this contract. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Yep.
All right, item G, we have an update regarding the November 3rd, 2020 general election, which is a presidential election. Voters can still request absentee ballots. You can go to myvote.wi.gov. The village's Facebook post, follow the absentee ballot return road to Village Hall parking lot secured drop box. Encourage voters to make a plan. Don't wait until the last minute. Get registered, request a ballot, turn it in, use our secure drop box. Peggy or Mike, anything to add to this one?
Just that, all right, maybe Peggy, you want to talk about the my vote where you can track your absentee ballot?
Sure. So I guess what I would say is that voters have until 5 p.m. on October 29th and to request a ballot by mail. And they can vote in our office until 5:30 on October 30th. But we're highly encouraging people to not wait and to go on to My Vote to request their ballot. So they just have to go to myvote.wi.gov.
Peggy, can you tell us the dates again where people can come in and vote absentee in person, where you'll be down in the community board? You gave those dates once, but I don't remember.
Sure. It starts on Tuesday, October 20th.
Okay.
That's the second to last week of October. So Tuesday through Friday from our regular business hours, 7:30 to 4:30. And then the following week through October 30th from 7:30 to 5:30 that entire week.
Mike, do you think that we could put that on the next agenda, just so those hours are posted somewhere?
Sure. Yep.
Otherwise, I'll keep asking Peggy.
I think they're around maybe a meeting or two ago, but I'll just do it. Yep.
Yeah, I would say on every meeting between now and the election, let's just.
That's actually a good idea. I'll put on next Mondays. Yep.
I would anticipate that you're going to have a lot of people
Yep.
doing that in person absentee voting.
Yep. Oh, good idea. Thank you.
You could put the link to the village's elections website also, because all of the information is there.
Sure.
The link is helpful.
Yeah, I will do that. Okay.
Good. Oregon, Village of Oregon, we have a historically very high turnout rate. So let's shoot for 100%, right, Peggy?
Yeah, 120%.
Yeah. No,
So possible if we have more people. If we have more people that are registering on election day, we could have more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Okay. So then H, we now move on to the Jeff Rao Show. We have an update regarding Public Works project.
Sure.
Take it away.
Okay, a couple projects. Let's talk about Park and Janesville Street. That project is, we're really just waiting on the poles and signals right now, which have been delayed, but we did increase the pressure and on the contractor, and those are supposed to be installed either this afternoon or tomorrow. And then I believe City of Madison will be putting them on flashing red, flashing yellow on Wednesday is the schedule. So that's good news. We're hoping that happens, but we'll see. But we're continuing to put up pressure on that, and we have let them know that there could be charges that are associated with a late contract on that one, just to give you a heads up on that. The park project, as we talked about, is coming along really well. They just placed down the final layer of the spongy, I'll call it spongy surfacing under the playground today. And so that's curing right now, and everyone needs to stay off of it still for a good couple days and more until we have that open over there and it's a safe environment. But things are really going along well with the park. Lincoln Road, let's give an update on that. They're doing some undercut of some areas right now and finishing the shouldering. And then The 8th and 9th, which is Thursday and Friday, is the paving. And then there'll be shouldering next Monday and Tuesday, the 12th and 13th. They'll be doing the striping and painting on the 14th or 15th and should be done by October 16th, completely would be done out there. So that's going to be great. Just FYI, just so you know that the pavement width out there in the village portion is 25 feet in most locations. And we went from some places less than 20 feet to 21 feet to 25 feet in width. That's going to be a huge improvement out in that area. We already are getting some concerns from people over speed. We've asked the police department to, Jenny, is a speed trailer, is it alive or is it dead?
Undetermined.
Undetermined, okay. Well, hopefully, we'll work with the police department probably in stepping up some patrols out there with a new road and everything like that. That kind of wraps up most of the projects that are going on right now. Everything else is kind of wrapped up. We are working on the kicking off the blower project over at the wastewater treatment plant, and you've probably seen some sewer trucks working over near the high school for the infiltration and inflow reduction contract, which is ongoing.
I will add that all of the village streets that were repaved this summer look really nice.
Thank you.
South Prairie Parkway is just phenomenal. That was an excellent job.
Yeah, thank you. That was our first. Well, we did two pulverize and grade and overlay, or pulverize and pave projects this year, and that was one of them. We have not done that in the past, and that's basically a reconstruction. So it's a good road that'll last for a long time.
Good. Yes, Bollig.
Yes, Jeff, what was the project going on at the intersection of Sterling and Scott Street? There was a lot of equipment down there. They had the street blocked off. Did a water main break or something?
No, that was I don't know if you remember, we redid some ramps in that location earlier this year. My guys did the concrete there. And then the company that we hired to come in and do the asphalt did not grade in a valley drain in there like they needed to. And so we brought that to their attention. We went out and met them with them. And so they were coming back to kind of fix their work. So they've been good at doing that. And I heard they were up there working today.
So they have to pull out the asphalt and the new concrete?
Not the new concrete, just the asphalt that they had put down previously. Yeah. It was a
fix. Right, thank you.
No cost, no additional cost to the village.
That's even better.
I knew you would like that.
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you. All right. So we have item I, discussion and possible action regarding Rupert Milky Task Order 2020-03. This is the West Netherwood and Cusick Parkway Stormwater Improvements Project for construction services. We have recommended motion to approve Task Order 2020-03 from Rupert Milky in the amount of $26,500 for construction services for the West Netherwood and Cusick Parkway Stormwater Improvement Project. All right. Someone want to make a motion to approve this, to get it on the table, please?
Peterson. Oh.
Bollig, a second. Yeah.
All right, so a motion by Peterson and a second by Bollig. Jeff, do you want to hit the highlights on this one?
Real quickly, Rupert Milky's done the design. The project's out to bid right now. The bids will be open October 15th. Assuming we award this project, which we're planning on, Rupert Milky will carry it from the bid through construction observation and administration. That's what this contract is for.
Excellent. Questions for Jeff? Yes, Bollig and then Horton.
Jeff, just for the knowledge of the public, and especially the public that uses that road, will that affect access to the parking lot by a bike path there off of?
You mean the construction of it?
Yes.
No. We'll be farther. We'll be down near Cusick Parkway.
Okay, so is this involve putting a culvert in, or what is the?
This is the project that involves new culverts under at Josh Belo's house area there. And it also involves a whole new bypass system from the pond that's out in the Keller property around the Cusick Pond and under Netherwood with 2 large diameter concrete culverts.
Very good, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Corey, did you have a question?
Yeah, I guess, so this will impact the bike lanes that are in Netherwood and then also the bike lanes that go to the Rotary Path as well?
Well, yeah, the bike lanes will be affected on, you know how construction goes, temporary, time, it'll be gravel and stuff for a while. We're actually hoping, if everything goes well, we're hoping that the learner lateral is dug in the winter. And we're also thinking that the contractors might want to try to construct this through the winter, depending on what kind of winter we have, or at least into early winter.
Do we have an engineer's estimate for the construction cost for the work?
Not off the top of my head, Corey. I think it was 330,000, but I'd have to get back to you on that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Mike, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So if people are interested in the project, there was that map in the September 21st board packet that showed the project.
On a sort of related note, Jeff, I wanted to tell you that as you're driving on Netherwood, the views toward Lerner Park are now really spectacular because we removed all of the, I don't know, those mounds of dirt that were there, whatever that was. That looks so much nicer now.
Thank you.
I know that was one of Steve Staten's pet projects.
Right.
It's been my pet peeve for 5 years, and I have bugged. It's one of those things. It's kind of like cleaning out your garage. You need to do it. You want to do it, and we've wanted to do it, but so many things have kind of come up over the years. But yeah, this year we were finally able to finish that. I agree with you. I'm so happy, and it's not going to be a dumping ground.
You need to take a picture of that and put it in a card and send it to Steve and say mission accomplished.
I do not want to make him happy.
Jerry and I and Jenna, and we sat through a lot of meetings where Steve complained about that pile. So that's the first thing I thought was, Steve's going to be so happy.
I'm glad you noticed. I agree. It looks nice out there.
So it's nice that whole area we're sort of like working on that whole area.
Yes. It never really should have been used as a dump area. I don't know how that got started, but
who knows?
Yeah.
All right. So pending no further questions, we have a motion and a second then to approve this task order with Ruckert Milky. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item J, we have a discussion on possible action regarding graphics interface system GIS upgrades. We would recommend motion to authorize Public Works to acquire the necessary software licenses from ESRI for $1,500 and 2 iPad Pro tablets and appurtenances for approximately $2,300. Would someone like to make this motion without the word appurtenances in it?
If you take appurtenances out, Bala will make the motion.
All right, great. So we have a motion by Bollock. Is there a second?
Jacobson.
All right, second by Jacobson. Thank you.
Okay, I struck the word appurtenances from there. Okay, that's just wrong. This is just continued. I hope you guys understand the importance and how effective and how much we use our GIS system. Our old GIS data collector was replaced just this last year. I don't know if you remember, but we got a really good deal because it was right in the middle of COVID. And so now, so we have that, but we need the new software, and the tablets allow you to update real time. And so it's actually connected with the new GPS receiver, and it's connected real time over a data link, and really will help kind of instead of having to come back and download everything, it'll automatically link up to the system. And this is all part of it. This is all part of what's been in the budget. It's actually was part of the 2019 budget even and 2020 budget. It's just obviously taken us a little while to get everything rolling on it.
All right. Questions on this one?
Bollig has a question.
Yes.
So it would cost about $8,000, Jeff, to put security cameras at our dump site?
Oh, Jerry, that's the next agenda item.
Oh, okay.
We're on Jay.
Well, it's split up on the agenda, so.
No.
Any questions on the GIS system? All right, then. All those in favor of authorizing Public Works then to acquire the necessary software licenses and equipment, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, and then now we're on item K with the security cameras. This is discussion and possible action regarding security camera upgrades for the wastewater treatment plant. We have a recommended motion to approve the purchase and installation of 2 security cameras at the wastewater treatment plant from Altronex Control Systems for the amount of $8,381.56. Someone like to make that motion, please?
So moved, Jeannie.
Motion by Glish. There's a second.
Second, Peterson.
Second by Peterson. All right.
Okay, I'll hit this one really quickly. We have an existing camera system at the wastewater treatment plant. One of our cameras it's beyond the end of its useful life and it's dead. And so that one is a replacement camera, and that's the $3,643.99. That would be something we just are repairing that under the regular general fund and sewer utility repairs for the wastewater treatment plant. Okay, I'm going to go public with this. We've had a dummy camera up at the wastewater treatment plant pointed towards the brush pile for a very long time. And
full disclosure.
Huh?
Full disclosure time here.
Right. And honestly, I think someone had said they saw it on Facebook. They said, I don't think that camera really works. And it's such a good dummy camera. It fooled me because I told Cal, I said, we already have a camera out there. But what we have found is we have a very nice dump site. We have contractors coming in. We have people that are dumping things that they're not supposed to. It's not a perfect system, but I think Chief Jenny would agree that, a lot of times when we get a picture and we can recognize a vehicle or even get a decal off the side or something like that, we're able to catch people and at least warn them or they can get tickets for, violating the rules out there. And, it costs us a lot of money to haul away that stuff. If someone dumps something that's not appropriate for down there, like a dishwasher or something like that, or rocks or whatever, we honestly, and the village and the residents have to pay to haul that off. So we load it in a dump truck and we haul it away. And that's just not right. I think our grinding contract this next year is almost $20,000 for the grinding the brush pile and disposing of it. So I think it's a worthwhile investment.
So to recap, Jeff, we go from a dummy camera to an actual camera that operates.
Correct.
2 cameras.
Correct. And that camera is more because we have to be able to run power to it and controls to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Amanda, go ahead.
Are we also including a sign that says, "Hey dummies, the camera works now"?
There will be. I have better plans than that, but I'm keeping that secret for now.
Okay.
Operations.
Yeah.
I like it.
But we have a plotter that can plot full size 36-inch wide. Just saying.
Wait, what?
We have a plotter that can plot a picture 36 inches wide. So we'll come up with some good creative ways to let people know they're on camera.
Oh, okay.
It's a large printer.
Yeah.
Large plotter.
Corey, did you have a legitimate question? Unlike the rest of us.
I'm just curious, are you looking to capture license plates with this or just kind of a general oversight of the facility? Because we tried doing that where I worked before, and just the resolution, it was very, very tough to capture license plates. And without license plates, it's very, very hard to enforce anything.
Well, you know, on CSI, Jenny, don't you just hit the enhance button and it automatically makes it so much clearer?
And so ours you can enhance, but it's a feature you have to look for when you select the camera.
Yeah. So what we found, I mean, we have a camera over at the Public Works site there, at the what do you call the impound lot. We've used that, I think, on 2 occasions where we've caught people coming in to use the dumpsters on the weekends, and we were able to locate those people, if I remember right. Correct, Chief?
Yes, and that's because in that camera system, you can hone in on one area and then keep zooming in, and it'll still clear up the image for you. So if that's the type of camera you bought, yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 4K camera, so it should be. We'll see. I mean, they're actually. I'm pretty impressed with the quality of the one we have working out there at the wastewater plant right now.
Excellent.
Won't be perfect, but it's another tool we can use. The other thing is this camera is movable, and so we can use it for added security at the wastewater treatment plant, because it's an area of the plant that we don't have cameras in right now.
Okay. Yes, Bollig.
Jeff, so who'll be responsible for going through that footage every week?
We're not going to go through, we're going to just use it for when we see something. And if we go down there and say on a Monday morning and we see a couple of weeks ago, someone had dumped a whole bunch of boulders and stuff like that, that's pretty evident. And, you know, someone will just probably Cal or somebody will go through and find the footage.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
If you're welcome.
All right, if no further questions on this, we have a motion and a second then to purchase and install those 2 cameras. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item L, this is discussion of possible action regarding Autumn Ridge Phase 1A street acceptance. We have a recommended motion to accept the street improvements, storm sewer on site, sidewalks, and curb and gutter improvements as part of Autumn Ridge Phase 1A. Someone like to make that motion, please?
I move approval.
All right, we have a motion by Horton. Is there a second? Second by Jacobson. All right, questions on this one for Jeff? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Likewise, item M, discussion and possible action regarding Autumn Ridge Phase 1B street acceptance. We have a recommended motion to accept the street improvements, storm sewer on site, sidewalks, and curb gutter improvements as part of Autumn Ridge Phase 1B. So I'd like to make that motion, please.
Glish moves.
I'll second.
All right, so a motion by Glish and a second by Horton. Any questions on this? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item N, discussion and possible action regarding JC Park West. This is a wetland delineation survey. We have a recommended motion to authorize Public Works to commission Rupert Milkie to complete the wetland delineation and report for the JC Park property for the amount of $4,500. Jeff or Mike, do you want to tell us a little bit about this before we go ahead with the motion?
Jeff, why don't you do it, Jeff?
So, you know, we are, you know, this is something that we'll be bringing before the village board here pretty soon for, you know, this capital improvement plan actually looks towards the fact that we think the fundraising through in-kind donation and actual donations is going to exceed the 500,000 this fall to early winter. And the capital improvement plan has the borrowing next year to actually start construction of JC Park West, which is great news. So we anticipate likely contracts with Rettler Corporation, and they'd be working with Rupert Milkie for some of the floodplain, the survey, and obviously the wetland delineation for as part of that design. The one thing with wetland delineations is there's a window, and it's really the growing season of when you can complete a wetland delineation. And that's closing pretty much this week. So our feeling was we wanted to get them out there. It's a little cart before the horse, but a wetland delineation is good for 5 years. And so we still have plenty of time. It's not going to be wasted funds. And, but, you know, it's going to be very hard for us to move ahead with design through the winter if we don't have at least the wetland delineation done.
Excellent. Questions on, well, let's see, if someone would like to make a motion to get this on the table.
We shall move.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Randy. Is there a second?
Horton, I'll second.
All right, okay, second by Horton. Questions on this?
Well, I guess a question.
Go ahead, Balag.
So this will allow the fields, the soccer fields or whatever fields, to be constructed outside of the wetland. Is that the correct understanding?
Right. Yeah, you want to identify if there's any wetlands on site, and if they are, what type of wetlands they are, and you know, map where those locations are.
Right. This is again in advance of the field
Yes.
construction, right?
Exactly, exactly. And this is, you will be seeing a full contract from Rattler Corporation for all of the design and bidding of the project, and they're working with Rupert Milky to do kind of some of the civil engineering site work, which is the floodplain, the site topographic survey, the wetland delineation, all that type of stuff. So that'll all be coming. Do you think that'll be still in October, Mike, or do you think that'll be first part of November?
November.
Okay. This doesn't commit the village to say that the park is being built, and that's still totally all in your call and your decision on borrowing and
Right.
and everything.
All right. Any further questions on this motion? All right, then we have a motion and a second to complete that wetland delineation report. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item O, we still have a seat available on the Oregon Fire EMS District Joint Board. If you're interested in that, please contact Mike, and there's more information on our website. Item 9, report of committees. This is from the Planning Commission, so I'll bring these forward. So from the October 1st, 2020 Planning Commission meeting, the first item is FYI only. The village board will consider adopting comprehensive plan amendments recommended for approval by the Plan Commission at their October 19th, 2020 meeting at 5 p.m. on Zoom. And almost all of us were at that Planning Commission joint public hearing. So you are all well versed in that, but we'll talk about more at the October 19th meeting. Item 2 is discussion and possible action regarding amending phase 2 specific implementation plan SIP for Beehive Homes. Revised fencing plan, excuse me. The motion from planning was Molzon moved, seconded by Sievertson, to recommend to us the approval of amending phase 2 specific implementation plan for Beehive Homes, and that motion carried unanimously. So I'll bring this motion forward to the village board. Would someone like to second it, please?
Peterson will second.
Thank you. So if you remember from our joint meeting with them on Thursday, gosh, seems like a long time ago. It was only Thursday. They had to regrade that lot, and so the fence was put in a little bit different spot than was originally in the SIP, but they explained it to planning, and planning said it's still okay. Any questions on that? Yes, Corey.
I just had a question about the generator placement. Is that high enough to be above the flood level for the stormwater pond that's there, Jeff?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Oh yeah, I believe it's actually even above the street level.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Jeff, they still have to put the landscaping around that, right? It's supposed to be screened.
Yeah, I think it's got arborvitae or something like that around. Or no, it's actually going to have a wood slat cedar fence. I think, is that right, Elise? I can't read that up close.
Yep.
Cedar fence around.
Yeah.
I believe it's a silenced generator too, if I remember right from when they were going through it, because they got a grant for it, just for sound wise, if anyone's worried about that.
All right, any other questions about that item? All right, so then we have a motion and a second to amend the phase 2 SIP for Beehive Homes. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And then item 3 is discussion and possible action. This is extraterritorial jurisdiction review for the Van Kampen certified survey map in the town of Oregon. We have a recommended motion from the Planning Commission to not object to Van Kampen CSM in the town of Oregon in the village's ETJ area. So I'll bring that motion forward if someone would like to second.
Wish will move.
Thank you. So Glish be second. So if you remember this one, he has a buyer for that property. The buyer wanted a little bit more land to go with the house. And so the village is not objecting to adjusting that certified survey map to make the property boundaries a little bit different. Any questions on that? All right, all those in favor of that motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, so we don't have any minutes requiring action. We have no unfinished business. For an amazing reason, we have no new business. We have some future agenda items, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Gallagher move.
Peterson will second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any last thoughts? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
You.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.